Hi yogis, it's Cindy. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about insomnia. So if you're not someone who's ever experienced insomnia, it can be debilitating. So maybe you have difficulties going to sleep, maybe you sleep for a while and you wake up, or you wake up early and can't go back to sleep. And so while there's a lot of different treatments out there for insomnia that are medical treatments, sometimes a few yoga poses and maybe even some breath work can help with that as well. So today I'm going to offer you one breath sequence and then a couple different poses that you can do that send your body into that relax mode so that you can maybe kind of shut down a little bit and maybe get some sleep. So for the first one, it's going to be breath work, and I'm going to suggest that you get at minimum a blanket to sit on, maybe a block, depending on exactly how high you want to be. But find that nice comfortable seat so the sits bones kind of have a little bit of padding, so the hips are a little bit above the knees, and so that you can sit here comfortably for maybe 4 or 5 minutes or so, not too long. And so this breath work technique that I'm going to show you is called moon breath. And it's basically breathing in one nostril and breathing out of the other nostril. And so we're breathing in the left nostril. That's the nostril that's associated with kind of a cooling effect and a calming effect. And they're breathing out of the right nostril and then returning to that same sequence over and over again. The goal here is to relax your body, kind of get you into that little bit of a quiet Zen state. And it works like this. Your dominant hand, right hand or left hand, and you're gonna fold down your index finger and your middle finger. And so you're just gonna kind of have your hang 10 sign and then this other little finger maybe hanging out or maybe hanging up, it doesn't really matter. One hand goes on each, or one finger goes on each nostril. So you're gonna plug your right nostril, breathe in through your left nostril, plug your left nostril, and then breathe out through your right nostril. And then you're going to do it again. Breathe in left. Breathe out right. Breathe in left. Breathe out right. Breathe in left. Breathe out right. And you can continue that breath work for up to 3 minutes or even longer until you feel yourself starting to calm down, until you feel your breath starting to deepen, until you feel yourself kind of letting go of whatever those distractions are that are kind of coming in and bringing you out of that sleep cycle. So that's our breath practice. Try that, see what it does for you. And then the next thing we're going to do is talk about an actual posture that can help with sleep as well. And so for this very first one, we're going to move into a standing position. You can move your blanket or your block out of the way. And you're going to start off just by folding gently forward, taking the feet so they're just about hips distance apart. The peace fingers wrap around the big toes and the thumbs come on to catch it. So you're in this nice deep forward fold, allowing the crown of the head to reach down towards the floor. You can bend your knees as much as you need to bend them to get comfortable here. Focusing more on allowing the body to just gently lengthen out. This tends to stimulate the back body, the kidneys and the liver and the back body, and it activates that parasympathetic nerve system, that fight or flight that tells you that it's time to relax. It's time to ease down a little bit and helps you find that place where you can quiet down and relax and release the body. You can gently sway side to side here. You can get a little movement in the head. Think about letting the back, the whole spine kind of lengthen out, letting yourself get a little bit further down. Nice, deep, long breaths. Just hanging out here as long as it feels good to you, as long as you feel like that breath is easy and the body is starting to slow down and quiet down. When you're ready to come out, fingertips come to the mat. You can toe heel the feet together. Keep the knees bent And then slowly start to roll yourself up one vertebra at a time, letting the head and the shoulders come up last until you find that standing position. We're going to be back down on the floor for our next posture. So coming into a seated position, and again, you're welcome to put a blanket underneath your sits bones to give yourself a little bit of height. And we'll start off with the legs out long and just take a moment to kind of sit up tall, fingertips come to the hips or to the mat beside you, lengthen the spine from the belly button up through the crown of the head, reaching to the ceiling, and then root down from the belly button down through the base of the body so you find that nice deep connection with the mat. This posture is called fire logs, and the purpose of it is to get deeply into the hips. And so our hips hold a lot of emotion, they hold a lot of tension there, and oftentimes if we can release these hips, we can release tension and stress in other areas of the body. We'll start off on the right side, so take your right knee and just cross it right over the left knee, and just start off just like this. Sit up tall, and just notice how that feels. If this feels okay, you can draw this leg over and stack your ankle right over your thigh. And then the third kind of section of this would be to draw your opposite foot in, stacking the shins so they look like fire logs. Now, you can adjust this right leg. The heel can be a little bit closer to the body. That's going to deepen the sensation back here, or it can be a little bit forward. And you can also fill in negative space if you feel like your knee is kind of hanging out without support. Make sure that you feel comfortable here. But you'll begin to feel that sensation starting to grow in the right hip and into the right side of the thigh pretty quickly. Once you feel like everything is set up in a comfortable way, then you have the option to stay upright. Maybe one hand comes to the foot, one to the knee, and this is perfectly fine to stay just like this. But if you would like, you can walk yourself forward on your palms, folding forward to any degree. The further you walk those hands forward, the deeper the full fold is going to be, and the deeper that sensation is going to grow into that hip. You're welcome to add a bolster here to give you a little bit of height. You can bring the forearms to the bolster. You can turn the bolster on its side and rest your forehead here. And then breathe into that hip space, feeling where that sensation is, and then breathing out, letting that sensation just ebb and flow with each and every breath. Minute or two here is probably more than enough, but certainly if you need to come out more quickly than that, feel free to do so. When you're ready to come out, it's a slow progression. Come up to the forearms or come up from wherever you are, nice and slow, and eventually make your way all the way back upright. Take the props out to the side so they're not in your way. And then just unfurl the legs and send them straight forward, flexing the feet, lengthening through the muscles all the way from the hips down to the ankles. You can find some movement here if that feels good. You can windshield wiper the feet from side to side. You can press the toes forward and pull them back. Any movement that feels good. And then eventually we transition and do the other side. So this time the left knee is going to cross over the right knee, and I want you to start at this first step even though you know where you went the last time, because the two sides of the body can be very different. So you may have different accessibility, you might have injuries one side to the other, and so you want to make sure that you give yourself the opportunity to work into it slowly and find the place that works for you. If this is okay, bring the leg across, make that kind of number 4 shape, keep this foot flexed to protect the joints, and then maybe you bring this other foot in and find that fire logs pose. Filling in negative space if that helps give you a little bit of security. Sitting up nice and tall. You can begin that process of walking forward to any degree, and maybe you walk a little bit more forward on this side, or maybe you don't go quite as far. Finding whatever you need here, bringing in those props to help. Forearms or forehead. And just finding a place where you feel totally supported, totally relaxed, completely at ease.
Let the breath slow down as you breathe into that left hip this time. Feel that sensation grow and ebb with the breath. 1 to 2 minutes or sooner if it's too intense, or you can just ease up a little bit if you've gone a little bit too far. And then very slowly get rid of the props. Send the legs straight in front of you. Sit up nice and tall for just a breath. And then let the toes wiggle, let the feet press. Find a little bit of movement. Maybe you bring the soles of the feet to the mat and you rock side to side here. Noticing what you feel in the hips, that easing that can translate all the way up to the rest of the body. So for our last pose, we're going to start on a hands and knees position. And as you come down to your hands and knees, set yourself up so the shoulders are over the wrists and the hips are just about over the knees. Before we move, I want you to think about the spine being one nice long line. So the tailbone is reaching back, the crown of the head is reaching forward, and that neck is just a nice long extension of the back. So you've got this beautiful long line all the way from the tail to the crown. This next pose is called melting heart, and this is a great way to activate what we call the barrow reflex, which is something that maintains our blood pressure, keeps it at a steady state. It's also a nice way to open up through the shoulders and the upper body. So the hands start to walk forward. And as the hands walk forward, you begin to release the upper body down towards the mat. Eventually, maybe the chest comes down towards the mat, maybe the forehead comes down to the mat. And then find those little adjustments that start to open up that chest. Maybe the hands go a little bit wider. You'll begin to feel that sensation of opening through the whole top part of the body. If you take the forehead and just gently roll it from side to side, basically temple to temple, adding a little bit of pressure in that forehead, this stimulates the pituitary gland. And this is another regulator that helps tell us that it's time to settle down and find some sleep. Slow, easy, deep breaths here. And then as you're ready to come out of this, start to gently walk the hands and the forearms back. Bring yourself all the way back into that tabletop position. And then maybe just find a little bit of gentle movement here. Cat-cow. Maybe a little bit of hip movement side to side. Make it easy, kind of dreamy. Make it feel good. And then hopefully you go right to sleep. So that's all I've got for you today. I hope that your dreams are sweet and that you're able to drift off. Thank you.